The following program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision. It's time now for the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Here's your host for the program, Joseph J. Zoppi.
Hello, welcome to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, real estate investor, consumer advocate, author, and managing partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You could reach us at templarcashforhouses.com. That's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. Or you could call us at 973-315-7990. We could answer any questions you may have or any questions you may want to discuss, and we'll put it on the air if you'd like. You know, anytime you need anything to do with real estate, please give us a call. If it's whether it's investing, whether it's purchasing a house or selling a house, we'd be more than happy to help you and give you our advice, okay? My company is a real estate investment firm. We buy houses for cash. We purchase apartment buildings. We do joint ventures with other real estate investors. We loan money for rehabs and provide transactional or gap funding. We work with individuals that want to invest with us in single-family houses all the way up to apartment buildings. We do not speculate, and we're very protective of our money or our investors' money. I'm not a real estate agent. I have individuals on staff that are agents, and they could sell your house through the traditional multiple listing service. We're not a brokerage, but again, we will be there to help you sell your house if you want, or obviously we could purchase your house directly. This show will go over everything there is about real estate, those things that impact real estate. We'll talk about our rehabs, some of our investments, what went well, what challenges we had, what we learned from those challenges. Real estate is one of your biggest investments, so it's important you know as much as possible about real estate. I'm here to give my opinions, only my opinion. So I always ask you to do your due diligence, whether you're working with a contractor, you're working with any type of service that you're engaging in. Please do your homework and do your research. One of the things I always ask you to do is when you do your research, make sure it's balanced and you get both sides. As I've said before, time and time again, is that when you see different articles on the internet, you need to understand the point of view of the individual writing the article. So some people might have an article that's slanted a certain way, so their argument's going to be slanted that way, as opposed to a more balanced approach. You know, when articles are written, there's a theme involved, so they have to adhere to that, and they might not cover all the intricacies or all those things that are counter to their argument or for that article. And that you need to understand, you know, whether it's investing or anything that you have to do. You have to always watch out for that. You know, one of the areas where that's occurring is, well, we have politics, and that's all over the place. So whether usually politics, everything's in one way or the other. It's just either black or white, yes or no, good or bad. And so it's that you need a lot of looking at and understanding things, because it's a mess. You know, some of the other things are also challenging. So let's talk about briefly, you know, some of the pros and cons of the economy. So I'll discuss it in more detail later on, but you'll see, and I've talked about, is the type of recovery we're going to have in the economy. So we talk about V-shaped recoveries and U-shaped recoveries lately. Mostly V they're talking about. Again, if you think about the letter V, how does it go? It goes straight down and then goes straight up. whereas a U would go down and then trail along the bottom and then go back up. So that's how they're saying possibly the economy will go. Most people are saying it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. I don't think so, and again, I'm always a little more cautious, and I look at things very from a risk perspective. That's one of the things that I always encourage everyone to do is really look at the cons of certain things and the risks associated with it, and try to balance that out. This V-shaped economy is one of those things. Another one is a classic example where I said about understanding where the author is that's writing the article. So one of the articles I read this week had to do with certain things that you would not think in terms of the real estate market. And one of those things you would not think is that empty houses will sell slower. So traditionally, a vacant house will sell slower. It just will. It will take a lot more time on the market. Reason is that people come into the house, looks very bare. It's just barren, and people can't envision how the room should be laid out. It's very difficult for people to understand and try to figure out how to conceptualize a house and what should go where. So there's always that challenge. Even though you wouldn't think that, it's very challenging for people. So traditionally, vacant houses take longer to sell. So this article saying that that's not the case anymore, and that's partially is the case, is that they are selling quicker. A couple reasons is there's not much inventory. That's one thing. Second is that people do like going into houses now that are vacant. They just feel more comfortable. But with that being said, they were talking about staging a house. So it's always highly recommended if you have a vacant house to stage it. We stage all our houses we sell, all of them. If we're selling a house, we stage it. That's if it's in our possession. We also recommend that if we're working with a seller, that if it's vacant, it's staged. That's our recommendation all the time. With that being said, this article was saying that, well, it's not necessary. And that's partially true. And they also started giving other examples which are not true. It would make it easier for the appraiser if it's vacant or if it's empty. And it's easier for the inspection person. It's going to go in. It's going to be better for them as well. And it's really not the case. If you're staging a house, it's not going to be cluttered. It's going to be very minimalistic. There's going to be furniture in there, but it's not going to impede any type of inspection or appraisal or anything like that. So again, they were just using that as filler to support what their argument was. And that's the thing you got to look at, because that's not the case at all. Also, I've been having and I continue to have private discussions with individuals that want to save their house. We're here just to help. So it's not going to be anything in terms of we're not going to make any money out of it. We're not going to charge a consulting fee, but we do make suggestions with individuals on how they could save their house. We're always here to help people. There's nothing worse than I see individuals that lose their house. That's to me is very important. It's the person's home, and it's a sad situation when that does happen. We also, as I stated before, we always purchase houses for cash. If you need to sell it quick, please give us a call. We're here to help and make it very easy for you. And also, if you're looking at investing, please give us a call, especially for passively for real estate. We're here to work with you, and we do certain types of joint ventures, other types of structured agreements in terms of investing in real estate with other investors. So please give us a call. I'm also looking for apartment buildings. I'm always looking for large apartment building complexes, 100 plus units. I will do smaller, but really what I'm looking for is 100 plus units. If you know of any, please give us a call. We'll provide a finder's fee, whether it's a house or an apartment complex. If it's an apartment complex, we're going to give you more money. It's, because it's just bigger. But either way, we will set up an agreement, and if we buy it, you'll get the money, and we're all both happy about it. That's what we want. So what I'm going to talk about today is a few other things that we've been going through. One of them is we had radon tests and came back and forth in terms of some issues with that. Fencing, so I'm going to go over some of those things. We've had a lot of issues with availability of products. It's been an extreme challenge through this COVID in terms of getting certain types of building supplies. Also multiple listings, and also some past individuals we purchased their house, and they've come back again. So we always like happy customers. So I'll go over some of that. And then we're going to go over a few other things with hoarder houses, and also the economy and commercial real estate in general. So the first is a French drain. We're still working through this. We have a house that we're putting a French drain in, so we've had some challenges with water, like I've talked about a couple of times this past couple of weeks about some of our houses just having some water issues. And there's nothing worse than water issues. It's just, they're just a nuisance to fix. They're always very expensive to fix, but we buy the houses as is. So if you have a problem with water in the basement, we will purchase it even if you have water in the basement. If you have 2 feet of water in the basement, we'll still buy the house, or whatever the case may be. But we will do it. So we're finally coming to a conclusion on the sale of one of the houses. We had some issues with radon, where we had a rating of 2 on the scale, and when the buyers came in, they had a radon test of like 16, which is like off the charts. So we wanted another test done, but even with that, they usually average it out. So even if the issue was that it went down to 10 and ours was originally at 2, you still average it out. It's still very high. So the buyer pushed back and said, we still want the system put in for the radon. So we agreed to it, but they also said they'll pay for a part of it, and that was fine with us. So we like to work with our buyers, and we like to make sure that it's a mutual win-win situation for both of us. And 9 times out of 10, we never really have any challenges with that. We're pretty fair, and we give in on a number of things because we want to sell the house, but we also always want to do the right thing, and that's important to us as an organization, that we're always doing the right thing. And I think we have a lot of positive feedback from our previous clients because of that, and we're very, very proud of that. So I'd like to wrap up this segment, and I'll be back shortly with another one. Thank you very much.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, Managing Partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. Before I continue, I'd like to say, which I didn't at the beginning of the show, is a happy 4th of July to everyone. This is just such a great country, and I always feel blessed that I live in this country. To this day, I just always feel blessed for the opportunities we have here. It's like no other country in the world. It really isn't. And, we have all these people going back and forth, and I really don't like to get into the politics and everything else associated with it. And, there's some valid points on both sides, and but in the end, this is a great country, and you can do more in this country than you can do anywhere else. So I'm very happy with it, and all those people that have made this country great. Thank you very much. So I'd like to talk about availability of material. So one of the challenges we always have when we're doing rehabs, and one of the things that gets me crazy, is the material costs. Costs for materials is just relatively high. Even when it's cheap, it's still high when you're taking into account everything that's needed for a rehab. It just chews up so much of our budget. And one of the challenges we've had over the last month or so has been availability of material product. And one area that's driving me really crazy is vinyl fencing, the PVC white fencing that you see in a lot of people's yards. You cannot get that anywhere. Home Depot doesn't have it. Lowe's doesn't have it. Even when they have it, it's unbelievable how challenging it is to get this product, and it's driving us crazy. We have two big projects right now that we're putting fencing in, and I just can't get the fencing. We ordered some at Home Depot, and I'm checking on the order, and then I find out that it was just canceled for nothing. And I was like, why was it canceled? Nobody called me that said it was canceled. It was just canceled. And I find out that the order was so incorrect in so many ways that they just canceled the order. But obviously we didn't know. No one told us that afterwards. So it was just from me checking to see where we were at that we find out that it was just ordered incorrectly. And that was through, there's a thing called the Pro Desk, and you get a little bit of preferential treatment if you're a contractor or someone that does a lot of rehabs like we do. You can order certain things. It helps a lot on certain situations for Home Depot. But the gentleman that put the order in, he just almost everything was incorrect. We had 6-foot panel high fences, and he had the posts for 5 feet. It was just one thing after another. And then I looked at another order, and I saw that part of it was canceled, and then it was credited back, and then it was ordered again. And I was like, what happened there? And that too was partially incorrect, but the guy caught it. We didn't know about it. The guy caught it, and he corrected it, and he did a good job with it. But it's just been such a nightmare getting these fences, because everyone's putting up these fences because there's nothing else to do, during this pandemic. So they're putting up these fences left and right, and it's crazy. So we'll continue to push through this. Hopefully, I'll be getting my fence panels soon on some of these projects because it's substantial size, and it makes the yard just look a lot better. So, especially with the yards that I have, there's a couple of neighbors. It's not well kept, and the fence really helps block some of this out, and it just makes it cleaner and neater. We have one down in Eatontown where there's a big, I think it was the Army base was next to it, and our house, and there's a stadium, and there's an old rusty fence next to it. It's such an eyesore. So we're going to get this privacy fence 6 feet just to go around their entire property. But there's probably in terms of linear feet, there's over like 200 linear feet. So it's a substantial size yard, and it's very expensive, but it just needs to be done. So the other thing is that from a multiple listing service, we have a number of individuals that have been calling us to list their houses. I strongly suggest if you want to list your house this year, try to do it sooner than later. Inventory is very, very low, so we're getting high prices for almost everything that's out there. They're just clamoring for more inventory. More inventory is coming on the market, but still there's not a lot, so I would seize on the opportunity. Do not wait towards the end of the year. You don't know what's going to happen. I say that all the time. You do not know. So please do that. Another one is that we had a previous client of ours. We purchased their house. He was a great guy, and so we purchased the house, and then it was probably about a year ago, and I got a call from him probably 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. He said, Joe, you took care of us. You gave us a good price, a reasonable price for the house, and we're happy about that. And I would like my brother-in-law to possibly, if you could buy his house. And I was like, yeah, sure, we'll definitely look into it. So it's always great when we have, past, recommendations from our previous clients. That goes so far, and, we really like to see that. So we looked at his house, brother-in-law's house, and we made an offer on it, and he did accept. And afterwards, he said to my staff member, he goes, you gave me more than I was expecting. And then my staff member later on told me, said, oh, I guess we should have done it low, give him a lower price. But I said, the thing is that we had a price that we could ensure that we're going to make a profit, which we need to do. But also, we're happy that we gave him a price, and I was happy that we gave him a price that he was happy with. So, I hate the cliche sometimes, the win-win situation, but really it was that. And we're very happy that we're able to give him a price that he likes, and we'll have a price where we should be able to make a profit on it. That's one of the always things that we always have to worry about. The market could turn, and we could run into other issues when we purchase the house afterwards in terms of things we did not see that we need to correct. And we always want to correct everything that we need to before we sell a house. We do not want to leave something and like bury it or hide it. So a lot of times we come up with things that we did not see. Case in point with that one gentleman that called me for his brother-in-law. We were talking. I says, yeah, we had to redo a lot of electrical, which we weren't expecting. Plus, there was some issues with the foundation. So we fixed those, and we weren't planning on that. So it's very important that we do the right thing. So I'd like to go over one of the things is I read this article, and I got a number of quotes here from the gentleman. I think I'd like to talk a little bit about it. His name, he's a billionaire bond, as they call him, bond king. I'll probably butcher his last name. It's Jeff Gundlich, Gundlich. LACH. So I have a couple of quotes here from him from an interview, and I just want to comment on it. Um, he says, what we experienced in the last part of March was far worse than the worst days in March of 2009. And that is most definitely the case. There were actually situations, he said, in large swaths of the fixed income market where you simply could not sell assets. And there was no liquidity in terms of selling assets. And that was the problem for bonds and things like that. So what the Fed did, and they did a great job with it, again, whether you like Trump or not, between Trump and Steve Mnuchin and the Fed, they injected a lot of money into the economy, and it really, really helped a lot, considerably. It would have been just catastrophic, a lot worse than 2009 if they didn't do that. He also said the Fed had, just as I said, propped up the economy with just the most incredible of fiscal lending that we've ever contemplated. It's a bridge further than we would have gone before. They're spraying money all over the place. So they are pushing money all over the place. They're pushing it in people's pockets. They're doing it for companies, so on and so forth, which is really, really important. Um, what he says is it's going to be a really big question as to how the economy could handle the taking away of direct monetary payments to American citizens that don't have any savings or in economic distress, he said, referring to the end of the enhanced unemployment benefits at the end of July. So that is the case. So you have a number of people that don't have a lot of savings, and they are going to cut the benefits. But there's been talk to do some additional things, so I'm expecting that. So I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue as just other things in general. Said in terms of the economic recovery, and this is where I definitely agree with him. He says a V-shaped recovery is highly optimistic and not really plausible. It implies that you could take 20% of the entire labor force and put them in jeopardy, put them on unemployment benefits, have them produce nothing, and instead receive money that you could do that, and nothing bad happens and nobody gets hurt. And that's it. That's the issue. And he said that he's expecting economic growth will continue, but it's really not going to get back to like 2020. And that's where I agree. You can't have a V-shaped recovery. It's just there's too many headwinds, and I don't. I think it's going to be the slow increase, but I think things are going to sometimes maybe get worse for a while before they get better. They are getting better, but I think we might have things go down again, um, and I think it's going to be a challenging. He said also in terms of investor that it's a very tough environment for investors because there's no market signals. So a lot of times when investors jump into the market, there's the big investors, there's market signals that say, okay, it's the economy's here or the market is here, let me jump in. And that's not the case right now. He says it's the paradox of investing. People don't like to buy low. They like to buy high when the sun looks like it's shining and the sky is blue. When it looks like there's a hurricane coming, they want out. But the hurricane is priced in when you know that it's coming. So the market is always forward looking. So if a hurricane is coming, it's already priced into the market where people think maybe it's going to go further down. If you know about it, the market knows about it. It's not that you know about it and the market does not know about it. So if it's already bad, that's the way the market already knows about it. The issue is that sometimes with all this money coming into the market, it's very, very inflated. And that's the problem. And he sees that as very dangerous as well. That's the problem is that the market is not behaving like the economy is. And there's just so much money put into the market that there's this euphoria. And that's something I've talked about time and time again, and just something you have to be wary of. And that's why we're concerned about where the market's going to be or where the economy is going to be later on. He said that Joe Biden and Democrats pledge pretty loudly that they want to increase corporate taxes. Since earnings aren't going to go anywhere, and the tax cuts by Trump are doing what they should, but if they cut that as well, it's really going to hurt the market. And that's what I believe, and that's a major concern of ours, a major concern. So I'd like to thank everyone. Have a great 4th of July, and please, if you need us, please, you could go at www.templarcashforhouses.com. Again, that's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. Or you could call us at 973-315-7990. Thank you very much.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
The preceding program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision.